Welcome to the Icons Edit, the podcast where the most unforgettable moments in pop culture are revisited and re-examined. So whether it's a legendary era in fashion, whether it's a product that changed generations, or an iconic scene from film and TV, we'll be talking about it. So if it lives rent-free in your head, it will probably live on this podcast. I'm Dawn Anna Williamson, and I'm the host of the Icons Edit.
Sex and the City never sleeps. So deep, we chase the moments, make them last. The future mirrors all the...
So this is the very first episode of the Icons Edit, and we're going to be discussing my specialist subject, which is, of course, the icon that is Sex and the City. And to do that, I have a very special guest to join me. He's an actor, he's a singer, he's a social media superstar.
Oh, darling.
He's a huge Sex and the City fan, and he's my very good friend, Mr. Julian Sewell. Welcome.
Yay! Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. So the Icons Edit, we know it's going to be about everything iconic, and we had to start with Sex and the City.
Obviously. We've done a few videos of Sex and the City.
We have. So me and Julian have done quite a few collaborations where we reenact scenes from Sex and the City for comedy value.
Yes.
It's a passion project that we love to do.
Yes. The first one we did was Mr. Khaki.
Which is such a great scene. You're going to do it again? Why?
Because it's there. And then the second one that we did, I think we did just recently, right? Which was the...
Teabag.
The teabagging.
We have a teabag situation.
Exactly. So those are really fun to do.
Yeah. So we love to do our Sex and the City content. So we were like, what should we do for this first episode? And it was like Sex and the City. It is our icon for today.
And there's so much to talk about as well.
Well, yeah. And to be honest, this is me. So this is going to be one of many Sex and the City episodes. And we decided that what we're going to do today is iconic moments from the show and our favorite iconic outfits, which is a huge subject in itself. So we've got lots to talk about. So
yes. Shows, including the movies as well?
Yeah, we can include it all.
Okay,
I think everything aside from and just like that. Let's stick with Sex and the City and the Sex and the City movies. And yeah, let's get into it. So let's get into the edit for the first time ever. Julian, this is your life. That's a reference. That's a pop culture reference, actually. Remember, this is your life.
No. Maybe it's because I'm too young.
Oh my God. It's me then.
Maybe just you.
Okay. So then just talk about Sex
I appreciate it though.
All right.
Okay.
So what do we do? Do you want to do fashion first?
Let's do fashion first because I understand that you are a fashion guru. You know a lot about the world of fashion. I look at you. I mean, you look drop dead gorgeous. Is that from the show?
Thanks for noticing. It is Vivienne Westwood, and it is the jacket that Carrie wears for her book cover in CoverGirl.
Oh, it is in the show.
So Carrie obviously wore it with legs out because Carrie has the most amazing pins of anyone I've ever seen in my life. So Carrie has it as a tiny little mini dress. I'm obviously doing it with pants today. This is Vivienne Westwood. It's vintage now. Iconic because she wore it with Chanel ballet heels with the wraps around the legs. I mean, it's a great front cover for a book. So yes, thanks for noticing. I am wearing a piece of Carrie history. Okay, so let's talk about iconic fashion moments from Sex and the City. I want to know, actually, you know what? Scrap that. Tell me first, what does Sex and the City mean to you? Because as you said, you're younger and you didn't watch it when it was first out.
No,
so tell me.
I was a fetus in the late 90s.
Oh, yeah. Dawn has a drink and says, okay.
I actually watched Sex and the City first during COVID.
And I think that's actually quite recent.
It is recent. This is the thing. I remember I was 15 years old and my friend said to me, do you want to come with me to the cinema and we can watch the new Sex and the City movie, which was Sex and the City 2.
Wow.
And that was the first introduction I got to all of these characters. And I was like, this is so funny. Like, Samantha is so funny. This is hilarious. Oh my gosh, I've got to go and watch the first movie.
Yeah.
And my sisters, I have 3 older sisters, by the way, looking at me like, you haven't even seen the show.
A judgment.
Ugh. And so like, I watched the first movie, thought that was amazing as well. But I never really got around. I remember seeing moments from the show, like on YouTube.
I mean, you can't miss it because it is, in terms of culture, it's everywhere.
It's such a huge part of the cultural zeitgeist of America and the early 2000s and the late 90s. I think I remember seeing Samantha's HIV scene where she gets tested.
And she faints when she comes out of the room.
I remember that was because I do work on social media as well. I do like recreations of scenes. I hadn't seen the show in its entirety, but one of the first scenes that I did that went viral, this is way back in like 2020, was do you have sex? Yes. Do you have oral sex? Give, receive? Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yes. So I remember doing that scene and going like, this is so funny. And the teabagging scene I remember really well, but I hadn't seen it in its entirety until I want to say the middle to the end of 2020, where I watched from season 1 right through until season 6.
That's amazing because I often wish that I could watch it again through fresh eyes. I am rewatching it with my followers right now, and we're doing a weekly episode breakdown.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how even now, and I've watched it a million times over, that every time you see something different, and it feels different depending on what's happening in culture at that moment. And, you know, we've talked about before how Elements haven't aged terribly well.
It's a product of its time. It's a show that came out in the 90s and certain things haven't aged well. That doesn't justify certain, you know, how I like to look at it is I think back to how revolutionary it was at the time. It must have been in the late 90s for these women to talk so openly and honestly about their sex lives. That hadn't happened before on TV.
And the sex scenes. Do you ever think about what those actresses had to do? And it's actually not normal. I mean, I'm an actor, you're an actor. We've both done intimate scenes and so on. And it's what they had to do on the show is unfathomable. Some of them, especially, I think it was like Samantha, obviously, and Charlotte too.
Yeah.
There were moments where you're like, I kind of put myself in their head and been like, wow, I can't believe.
I also feel like Kim Cattrall showed her like upper half of her body the most, I think, out of all the women.
She's got a good rack, though.
She does.
I mean, that woman could. I mean, what?
I know, but I don't know if then any of the other women did that.
I think Charlotte maybe, because I think with the Trey era there was a lot of like negligees. There was like free the nip moments. There was definitely there was things going on. I think that ultimately even Miranda as well to some degree, because I know that SJP had a clause, a no nudity clause. So there is a lot of sheet covering and a lot of kind of posturing to try and cover up stuff. The other girls didn't have that, and they were just fully exposed. I mean, think about Miranda when she's riding Robert.
I think about Miranda, an incredibly graphic scene. Actually, Miranda in I believe it's is it either the second or the first movie after they meet on the Brooklyn Bridge, which is such an iconic scene, by the way.
Yes.
When, you know, they have that moment, Miranda has that moment where she sees like the milk on her lips and she looks into the mirror and she realizes that she wants Steve.
It's incredible.
And then they meet on the Brooklyn Bridge and they proceed to have the most passionate fuck sesh. Do you remember?
Yeah, of course. They've been reunited.
And it looks like it does look hot, but it just looks so passionate. And
but it's incredible that they're able to, you know, we know from being on sets that it is not sexy. You know, these people are being, I mean, we've gone off on a total tangent here, and I actually love it because it's something that I think about a lot. A set is not sexy. A set is, you're watched by a bunch of people.
With a whole bunch of people there.
There's cameras on you, you know, you've got your nudity garments and stuff like that. And these people make it look so
effortless.
realistic.
I know. But I'm told that that's changing now. And I'm told that more and more intimacy coordinators are directing their scenes with everybody else on set somewhere else in a different room, so that the only people in the room are the camera operators and the actors.
I've definitely done closed sets and been, because I'm a costume designer as well, I've definitely been on a closed set where it's just been me as the costume designer with an actress for the sake of privacy and making them feel safe. You know, every actress I've worked with as a costume designer has been like, Dawn, be in the room with me, you know, because if you're having a sex scene, you've got one camera guy. I think it does feel good to have somebody that you can look at and trust, and someone who's also protecting your modesty as well. Closed sets are definitely and always have been a thing, but they're not always the case. And you are just kind of required to, I always think when I see them faking an orgasm, like that's so like that's just I can't even imagine doing
and back
that.
in as well. This is back in the late 90s and early 2000s.
Yeah.
You know, closed sets I don't think were that much of a thing back then. Maybe not. I don't know.
Probably less. Yeah,
but it would have been less
so.
of a thing. And so you can just imagine like Kim Cattrall topless riding a guy going and faking an orgasm.
Yeah.
That would have been a really difficult thing to do, I imagine.
And I think that they did it so well that we believe that's happening. Suspension of disbelief in this series is real. Like you just think that they're there doing it and that's that. Like you said with Steve and Miranda, like you believe they've just been reunited after a breakup.
After a huge breakup.
So I love that. And like I said, we've gone off on a slight tangent, but I think it's really relevant to discussions about Sex in the City because the sex was a huge part of the show. And we can talk about that separately.
Yeah.
But yes, let's talk about the outfits. Let's talk about, I want to hear what your favorite outfits are and kind of why. And then, you know, I can help and identify them and say like who it's by. Because I think a lot of people who maybe don't know me on my social media don't know that I'm kind of an expert in the wardrobe. I own a lot of the wardrobe. And one of the things people love is that I can identify outfits and then they can go and try and buy them. Yeah. That's a huge thing. So hit me, tell me your favorite ever episode,
So,
like outfit.
In terms of Carrie, I think that one of her most iconic looks is the newspaper dress.
Oh, I mean.
Which is, who's that? Who designed that?
It's John Galliano for Christian Dior.
Oh,
and
wow.
I would say that it is possibly one of the most iconic dresses that was ever worn on television.
And she looks so good in it. She's got such a great body.
I mean, this is the thing we have to talk about with Carrie is that she has, and I know Pat Field has actually said that dressing her was a dream because she has, and I quote, a gazelle of a body. And I think that a lot of what makes her outfit so successful is her figure. And think about it. She's a tiny little woman with curves. Do you know how incredibly rare that is? That someone would be those tiny little pins, tiny little torso, and then actually curves.
But it's not just the shape, it's the context of what that dress represents because it's newspaper and Carrie is a columnist, right?
That's right.
She writes in a newspaper. What's the name? The New York Star?
The New York Star.
Which is a made-up newspaper, I think. Or is it not? Or is it real?
I think it's a New York. I don't know. Oh, God.
I thought the New York Post was a real newspaper.
I don't think it's real, but dances on a postcard.
But anyway, she's got literally like a newspaper on a dress. And I'm like, that's so fitting for her character.
Absolutely.
You know?
But can we talk about the context in which she wore that dress? Because it's actually whack to think of. She goes to meet Natasha to apologize for sleeping with her husband. Do we think that looking the most amazing and banging that a woman's ever looked in her life
it doesn't make sense.
To go and apologize to a woman whose husband you stole is appropriate. This has got a lot of bad press over the years. Not bad press, but people have been like, really, Carrie? Are we really doing this? I mean, she looks phenomenal. You could argue that's probably her sexiest and most amazing look of all time.
And we've also got to talk about the tutu from the opening scene.
Oh, of course.
Because
Iconic.
I remember I was at the Museum of the City of New York here in New York, and I believe this was back in 2023, and they had it on display. And then I went back 2 years later, bringing like friends and family, going, "You've got to see the tutu," and it wasn't there anymore. It was like a limited
So
thing.
wait, was this the actual original
This
tutu?
was the tear rolled down my face, and I was going, I'm looking at the actual tutu worn from the opening sequence of Sex in the City.
So do you know the story behind the tutu?
No.
So Pat,
Was it really cheap?
Yeah. So Pat, who is the costume designer from Sex in the City, who is an icon in herself. Pat, you will be chased down to be on this podcast. She may have no choice. She actually found that in a like a dollar bin at like I think it was a thrift store, and I think she paid $5 for it. I want to say
that is so chic.
But you see, that's what Pat was the genius for.
Yeah.
You've got Christian Dior dresses. Coincidentally, the dress that you love, do you know how much it sells for now?
A lot of money, I would
I
assume.
saw it on auction. I keep an eye on these things. I saw it on auction last week for $155,000 was the sale price. And
For a dress?
That's one of the cheaper ones, I have to say.
$155,000?
I think the most it went for was $250,000. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, it is the most coveted piece of...
I wonder who has it. Who has it and who's wearing it?
So I'm not sure who has the original, because obviously Sarah Jessica Parker had a clause in her contract that she got to keep all of the clothes from the show. However, there is a little bit of caveat to that. In the early seasons, when it wasn't quite the big juggernaut that it became, a lot of the clothes were auctioned by HBO. So she doesn't own everything. And then there's also pieces that were loaned. And I know that the Versace Milfoy dress, the beautiful one in Paris, that was a loan. It had to go back. I believe, actually thinking about it, the John Galliano for Dior newspaper was also a loan. It went back to Dior.
Wow.
So it most likely is in the archives. She does, I know, have a lot of stuff from the show, but the loaners, she couldn't keep. They had to go back.
I think in terms of heels, and we know that Carrie loves her heels.
Yes.
I would have to say that the most iconic shoe that she wore was obviously a Manolo Blahnik's, but the specific kind is I think it's the one from the first movie,
the Hangisi,
which it's the blue ones, with the buckle,
buckle, it's their best selling style.
I love that shoe. It looked so great on her, and it's so iconic. When I think of Sex and the City, one of the costume pieces that I think of from that movie is the shoe.
I wonder how many the stats on how many women got married in that shoe. I know of two, my personal friends, who that was their wedding shoe. I wonder if we were to get the statistics on how many women wore that shoe for their wedding. I think it would be huge. And I think that the sales of that shoe to this day are through the roof, because 100% that Carrie Bradshaw wore them to get married. I mean, it is iconic.
Yeah.
But Manolos is another whole huge subject. All right, Samantha, talk to me about your favorite outfit.
My favorite Samantha outfit is the Mr. Cocky red dress.
I mean, this is very classic Samantha.
When I think of Sex and the City and I think of the characters, I think of how much we see their personalities reflected in what they wear. So as we know, there's a driving force with these four women. So Charlotte's driving force is the perfect marriage. It is the white picket fence. She's the traditionalist.
Yep.
She's the conservative. She wants to find a husband, basically.
Right.
And we know that Miranda's driving force is her career.
Yes.
She is very career driven. She's the feminist. People have cited her as the cynical character, and I do think that is somewhat true. But I think that a lot of people resonate more with Miranda now than they have been before, because she was really ahead of her time. She was really liberal thinking.
Absolutely.
And she had a lot of really liberal and open values that she would share with the women. And then, of course, Samantha's driving force is her sexuality.
Right.
She wants to have sex, and she wants to be like free enough to be able to do that.
But
and
it's also power with her as well.
Oh, 100%.
So it's sex, but it's also a huge part of that is her wielding power via that, I think.
Yeah. And so when it comes to what she's wearing in this specific episode, particularly when she's meeting a man that she knows she's going to enjoy later on in bed.
She's going to enjoy.
She wears this beautiful, bright red dress, and it makes me think of what the color red represents. You know, this idea of lust,
passion
and fire.
Yeah.
So I just love that you see so much of her character in what she wears in that episode.
Absolutely. And it's funny because it's head to toe monochromatic, which is, people obviously think means black and white. It doesn't. Monochromatic in fashion means head to toe the same color. Mm-hmm. She has red lips. She has a bright red dress. She has red shoes. Mm-hmm. Like, it's full head to toe. And then she has that contrasting Fendi pony hair zebra bag, which just gives it that kind of slight pop of...
Yeah.
But I mean,
also in that episode, with the Mr. Cocky episode, which we recreated right after that, when she realizes that he's a little bit too well endowed, and she and Carrie are walking next to the Flatiron building.
Yes,
we recreated
which we did.
that scene. She's wearing this gorgeous animal print,
head to toe again,
black,
head to toe.
Yeah, and she wears a lot of animal print. Her and Carrie. I don't think the other women wear it as much, but Samantha
definitely. Carrie was an early Dolce & Gabbana frequently in the earlier seasons. You saw a lot of leopard print from Dolce, but Samantha, I think it was part of that kind of feline-esque character, wasn't it, really? It was that sort of raw.
Yes. And I wore the exact top when we
Yes,
recreated that
I
scene.
did.
Which I literally cannot believe when we recreated this scene. Mind you, I didn't have the skirt. I had these hideous black trousers. But we tried to crop that out.
We made
right?
it work.
We made it work.
Next time.
I remember wearing that blouse going, I'm wearing the actual top at the actual place it was filmed, like 20 years later.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
It's amazing. It's Anna Molinari for Blue Marine, and it's how
I didn't think I would fit into it, but you said it was really stretchy.
Super stretchy.
So I was like,
yeah.
I can fit into this.
It's amazing because I obviously wear a lot of her clothes, and some of them that are the originals, and you do feel the second you step into them, you're like, okay.
I'm wearing the actual
I strut down the street and I'm like, I'm Carrie Bradshaw. You do have that feeling when you step into something from the show.
Yeah.
That's how iconic the clothes are, though.
Yeah.
That they definitely just draw you in. So that's Samantha, Carrie. What about Miranda? Do you have a favourite Miranda outfit?
So I do love something that I've noticed about Miranda is that she wears a lot of suits.
A lot of suits and a very mannish
very
tailoring.
mannish.
Yeah.
And I think of one suit that she either wears in one episode or she wears in multiple, but it's towards the later seasons. I could tell because her hair's quite wispy.
Yes.
And she wears, I think it's a grey suit with an open white, like an open collared white blouse.
I love that suit. And Carrie's wearing the
gorgeous
dress
suit.
with the big corsage and they're walking along the street. It's skid mark. They're talking about skid marks.
Right.
Oh,
yeah.
God, I hate that. Like every time I'm like, I would find him a new home. Oh,
Yeah.
skid mark Steve, no. But that's the scene where
Yes.
she's telling Carrie, like, and they're holding arm in arm.
I also love the dress that she wears it's also with Carrie, when she tells Carrie that I'm 6 weeks late, I'm pregnant. And she
Love
wears this
that.
beautiful, like it's really colorful.
It's Cacharel, vintage Cacharel.
And I don't think that she wears like quite loud. I don't remember Miranda as a character that wears quite loud dresses, but that was one dress that I
That's
was
right.
like, it's beautiful.
It's a lot of prints and it's very feminine. But do you think that was maybe because she was telling Carrie she was pregnant? Do you think there was a synergy there?
I think there was an underlying thing there.
Yeah.
I also love the dress that she wears to the gay wedding in the Sex and the City 2 movie at the beginning.
I
just think it goes really well with her hair, the black and white with her bright red hair.
Stunning. It's Julian McDonald. It's bespoke, and I actually have access to that exact dress. Pat has it. And I will be trying it on soon. I've tried a bunch. I tried all the bridesmaids dresses on from the wedding, and they have that one too. That dress is just to die for. And I think it was very much a departure from Miranda because she wasn't
glitzy or glamorous
she
like
wasn't
the other
glitzy
three
and
were.
glamorous. But in that moment, I would argue she looked the best out of all the girls. And
I
she
agree.
looked devastatingly pretty as well. Her face was so soft.
Yes. And she also wears a similar dress in one of the movies. I don't know if it's the first or the second. And they're walking down the street. And it's a black and white dress as well.
Geometric print.
Yes. And she's got a belt on and she's got heels on and she's just got this gorgeous, her hair's styled really
She
well.
looks absolutely fucking phenomenal
I
in
think
that
she
movie.
looks really good in the movies.
Yeah.
And this is no hit at Cynthia Nixon. Cynthia Nixon, if you're listening to this, I love you. I didn't like Miranda's hair in the first and second seasons. But in the movies,
I kind of agree with that to some degree.
in the movies and in the latter half of the show, where her hair was a little bit more of a bob
bit
and a
softer.
bit longer and softer. I really, really thought she looked really chic.
I think she has the kind of face that can pull off gamine, which is like the very, very like the pixie cut. So she definitely carries it off. There was definitely some times where it veered into, I don't like this. I think when she wears those overalls and she's walking down the street and she's got like really short, it's a little bit too severe.
Yeah.
But I think when it went softer, however, I will say one thing that I hate about Miranda's hair. I don't hate, this is just one scene. Do you remember when she has the baby and she feels like she just looks terrible? So Samantha kindly gives her appointment at this really expensive salon.
I love that scene.
I love the scene.
And she goes, go. Is that the scene?
And then she gives the baby the vibrator to soothe the baby. It's
love that.
absolutely perfect. However, when Miranda comes back from the John Mandy salon, that's not a great haircut. And every time I see it, I'm like, that's what John Mandy did to your hair. For me, it's like I wanted to see something more dramatic, something that just felt like she really had, you know, this amazing appointment that we assume cost like $500.
Yeah.
But it's funny how I've talked much about continuity in the show, and it's those kind of moments which are so interesting because as a viewer, you're like, your hair doesn't look like you had it done though. Like, did you go to the salon?
Yeah.
But that's,
It's like when it's also an iconic moment that I really like. I think it's in the earlier seasons when Carrie, it's at the end of the show, and Carrie picks up the phone and you think that she's calling Big because she goes, I know things have been rough between us.
Right, after the argument.
But yeah, but can you, I would really want to see you. And you think, oh God, she's going back to Big. And then it's revealed that it's actually Miranda.
Well, I mean, again, off topic, but you can't discuss Sex and the City without veering off a little bit. But I actually think about this a lot. And I think that Carrie and Miranda were the two closest when I think about the relationship. I mean, I'd say Carrie and Samantha too, but I definitely think the relationship between those two was the closest friendship. So when they had that huge argument that preceded that.
I love that argument. I love that scene. I think it's so well acted.
But isn't it true to life? How many people have you known who've done that? Just kept going back and then kept expecting their friends to pick them up and then straight away ran back to it.
But I think that Miranda is a true friend because she's telling Carrie what she doesn't want to hear, but she needs to hear.
Absolutely. But she always does that.
Yeah. And she pulls, I think there's another argument that happens in the snow in later seasons when I think it's for a similar thing.
I recreated it recently. It's when Carrie's going to Paris.
Yeah.
And Miranda's like, she's like, you don't like him. And she's like, okay, I don't like him. It's because she doesn't like Pachowski. Yeah. She doesn't think. And in the end, she's ultimately proved right because she does know Carrie really well.
The acting between those two, between Cynthia Nixon and Sarah Jessica Parker, is just phenomenal. And I think back to that first argument when you can tell that they're getting really, really heated and there's like tears in their eyes. And it's like the first sign of any flaw or weakness and you just write people off. Oh my God, Samantha, Miranda, you are so judgmental.
And that is also really true though. That was a moment where Carrie fighting back actually was true because often Carrie was in the wrong. Like, I'm not going to lie. Carrie 100%. Was frequently in the wrong. But in that instance, it is true. And Miranda, it's a kind of personality trait that I kind of also... I can see myself in that, I do that. I write people off. But I get really that's it. Yeah. Like I don't really feel that way, but I definitely have that.
So the reason why I brought that moment when she goes to the restaurant and you expect to see Big there is if we're gonna go back to her hair. Her hair was not looking good in that scene. It was really fluffy, and I was just like,
very fluffy.
Oh, can someone just fix it? I don't know. That's me being judgmental now.
But it's funny because I think it's okay because I think as fans of Sex and the City, a big part of that is being judgmental. Yeah. And I say that because all of my lovely followers, we do this where we dissect the episodes. And and sometimes people say to me, oh God, you're just letting people be really judgmental. I'm like, not really. It's a show that
we're allowed to be judgmental. You're the audience.
The whole show invited opinions
100%.
And it invited polarizing. It was polarizing in some degrees. And so, I do let people have their opinions because their opinions and it's how it hits you and how it affected you. And so for me, and I think Miranda was probably the character that was either the most polarizing or the one that most polarized. She put stuff under a microscope in ways possibly that the others didn't do as well. Okay, so last of all, Charlotte. Do you have a favorite Charlotte look? Now, Charlotte's a very specific style.
I know.
She's very Stepford Wife.
She's very sophisticated.
Yeah.
She wears a lot of classy outfits.
Yes.
I don't know if this is a dress or a top, but there's this photo that I see online whenever somebody brings up like a picture of Charlotte York, they always use the same photo. And it's a photo of her in her gallery in one episode. And it's so simple and but it's not boring. It's sophisticated.
It's the black
classy.
Dress, right?
It's the black
with
dress
the high neck.
Yes.
Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. I think it's everything. The way her hair is sleeked back. It's very sexy.
It's the 90s lip as well that she's kind of sporting, and
it's a very sexy.
Yeah.
The thing is with Charlotte, do you agree that she was actually like quite a sexy character? If you think back,
I think this is again very judgmental of me. I think Charlotte's the prettiest woman. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to agree. She is. I look at her and I think she's heartbreakingly beautiful. Yeah.
I mean that girl's face. She's beautiful. Just the doe eyes. She has the doe eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that she also could translate to sexy very easily. She definitely
100%.
was able to bounce to sexy.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of those times where she's professional. It's a work dress, but she could go to a bar after that and pick up a guy in a second.
Yeah.
And I think, it's a theory dress and it's super simple, but it's it's almost vampy. They've kind of put her in a vampy.
Yeah.
What did you think about the outfit when she goes to Atlantic City and she's turning 30? Is she turning 35? And she's horrified.
Remind me that one again.
It's the old maids. The theme of the episode is the old maids, that it's her birthday. She looks at herself in the mirror. She feels frumpy. So she goes down to the hotel gift shop and she gets this kind of plunging Vegas dress, you know, the kind of
the one with the deep the plunging
and
neck.
she's kind of not crimped her hair, but her hair's all beachy and wavy, and she comes walking and everyone's like, even Samantha's like, what the hell?
Stunning. She looks stunningly
people
gorgeous.
ask me all the time who made that dress, and I still haven't actually found out.
It out.
People kind of love the trampy dress.
Of course.
What does that say about us?
It's so sexy.
What does that say for us?
But
yeah, that's the thing with Charlotte, is that you definitely have this complete dichotomy, because she is this prim and proper, the little sort of 1950s dresses, you know, the 50s style. And then the next moment she's like extremely sexy. Like, I'll give you my favorite Charlotte look. The Prada lipstick skirt. So she wears this beautiful skirt, which is, I own the skirt. It's my skirt of dreams. It is when she meets Trey. And do you remember she's gone on that date that's been set up by that guy who's secretly in love with her? So she walks into the bar.
And then is this where she walks out onto the street?
And she falls in front of the taxi.
Yeah.
She's wearing Prada and it's a lipstick print skirt. And the moment I saw it all the way back, it's from the SS 2000 runway. The first time I saw it, I was like, I have to own that skirt. There's something about the way it floats and it's so perfect. And she wears it twice actually. She wears it with like a crisp white shirt and it's just so simple. But again, it's not boring. It actually has a sexy edge. She is sexy. I mean,
she
Charlotte,
is really sexy.
we think of her one way, but actually I think there was the statistics on this is that after Samantha, she sleeps with the most amount of people in the show. She does the most amount of sex scenes.
Well, because she's so beautiful.
She just, don't you think she slept with some goddamn awful men? We've been talking about this on my
She
my
gets, I feel like
socials.
the bad. She gets the real like bad selection of men on that show. I think.
mean, I can't even think of who would be the hottest guy that she ended up. I mean, I actually struggling to think of who Charlotte has been with. Every guy that I see her with, I'm like, why would this incredibly beautiful woman be with that guy? I think she just really didn't get the best pick. But then actually a lot of my followers have said that we don't really think that the selection of men across the board was like Samantha slept with some absolute dingo, like absolute like what, like why? And you know, sort of the insinuation that she slept with them because they were rich, you know, that was in the early seasons.
Oh, speaking of iconic like fashion moments, something that we've forgotten to mention is what I think is truly iconic, especially I think in the first season or the first two seasons, is Carrie's fur coat that she wears everywhere. And I see clips of people recreating this on social media of like, as soon as you you curl your hair and you put on a fur coat and you wear heels, you sort of skip your way across the streets of New York. You trot like a horse across the streets of New York,
trot, darling,
wearing
trot.
that fur coat. You just feel like you're living in Sex and the City. Yeah.
Yeah, it is this coat. So this is actually a faux fur version. I make that very clear. It's a dupe, but it's a faux fur. It's a vintage dupe, which I was dying to find because I don't wear fur. But that coat, it's reported to be Pierre Cardin. I don't know if it definitely is, but my God, that got some mileage. She wore it so many times. And did you know that you could take the bottom half of the coat off and it becomes a short coat?
No, I didn't know that.
So do you remember in the Politician era when she meets the guy who wants her to pee on him? Start of season 3.
Yep.
She is walking home and she has these knee-high snake boots on and she's wearing a short coat. It's the same coat.
It's the same one, but with the bottom
with
removed.
the bottom. So a lot of vintage fur coats had the ability to unbutton the bottom portion and make it into a shorter coat. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
This is why, you know, costume design is really incredible. And as someone with the skill of Pat, to kind of choose an item like that could be used multiple times and could be used in a different way is just phenomenal.
I think back to, I got married in November, by the way, and I helped one of my friends choose a dress to wear to my wedding. And her name's Lauren. Shout out to Lauren if you're watching. And she tried on several, but there was one that I was like, I love it. It kind of looks like a nightie. And it's very 1990s. and it's what's now known as a slip dress.
Yeah,
Or what's
Courtney
not
Love.
now known, but
Courtney
what is
Love
known.
pioneered the slip dress.
Yes,
Yeah.
and very Courtney Love, but
Yeah.
it makes me think of a dress in Sex and the City that Carrie wore, I think when she's meeting Mr. Big, and I don't know if she was wearing that coat.
Is it the naked dress?
I think it's the naked dress. It's very nude,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
It's like a nude colored.
It's the very famous, and she wears it with this.
It's so sexy without being too vulgar. Like the fact that it doesn't hug your body and give you that hourglass.
Yeah,
It just sort
and
of
backless.
drapes over your skin, and it's just so effortlessly sexy.
Donna Karan and
Yeah.
a very coveted dress. I actually own one, and I've worn it for photo shoots, and it's surprising how you don't actually feel too exposed in it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's very draped and it's not skin tight.
It's
and
not
it's
skin tight.
totally backless.
Yeah.
Huge V at the back.
But it's meant to resemble a nightie or like a night dress.
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean-
satin night dress, that kind of like really thin material.
Well, because it was for the promo for her column,
Mm-hmm.
and it was Carrie Bradshaw knows good sex and isn't afraid to ask, and so she's lying on the bed and she's supposed to look naked.
Yeah.
That was the whole choice of the dress. But like you say, it's become completely iconic. She wears it with the fur coat, which is a really good choice, because if she wore that with something fitted or kind of cropped, it just wouldn't have the same effect. And she meets, it's her first date with Mr. Big. Now, I'm not going to lie. Would you go on a first date with a guy that you wanted to impress wearing a dress that says "fuck me"? Again.
I don't know.
And then she whines about having slept with him on the first date. Dude,
I know.
what did you think was going to happen? Like, his
know.
eyes fall out of his head.
I do want to just bring into the conversation the character of Mr. Big, because he's a huge part of the show.
Huge.
I found it really interesting because I did some research. Apparently, he was only just going to be there for season 1, but audiences loved the relationship
Absolutely.
that Carrie and, had with Big, because it was very emblematic of like a 1950s, 60s romance. Like, if you think about it, Mr. Big is very Cary Grant. He's very dashing.
very Cary Grant.
He's very tall, dark, and handsome. He's always in these
Self-assured.
business suits, very polished.
Yes.
Very dapper.
Yeah.
And I just found that really interesting that audiences were like, no, we want Mr. Big back.
Isn't that amazing? Because that changed the trajectory of the whole show. Because he was the antagonist, he was the main antagonist. And without him, I'm not sure there would have been, I don't know where that would have gone, to be honest. He was there from the beginning and he's there right at the end.
I love this sort of comparison that Carrie makes in one of the episodes where she goes, well, I think when he's going to Napa, and she goes, you can't leave. You're like the Chrysler building.
I did this scene the other day
I
and
love
I love
it.
it. And she's just like, she's all like, her eyes are going like crazy. And she's just like, well, if you're tired, you take a Napa. You don't go to Napa.
I love it.
It's so iconic, but she's devastated. And you know why she's devastated? Because she knows he's it. She just knows it. She knows, even though they've been up and down and on and off, and at that point they haven't been together in a long time, she still knows that he's it. And she feels him leaving is well, that's it. That's the end of that. But of course it isn't. Not
No,
the
it
end.
never is.
So actually this segues great into, why don't we talk about some of our favorite iconic moments?
Yes, I'm so excited.
And I will say that I have like a million. So
do
this
I.
is part one of a million parts of which we could talk about this. But let's go through some of our most favorite iconic moments.
So
hit me.
we already kind of talked about like the arguments.
Yes,
that
which
you
are
know,
extremely iconic.
and they're extremely iconic and really well acted. But it makes me think about the element of friendship that I think is really the core and the heart of what the show represents and what it's about. Is yes, it's about dating in New York City and being, you know, going to all of these glamorous events and parties and going on to these hot dates and sleeping with men. But I think such a huge part of this show is the friendship between those four women.
Of course.
I think of like a more kind of lighthearted scene that I think of is that when the girls have each other's backs. Like when I think of scenes about friendship in Sex and the City, it's always like I got your back kind of scenes.
Yeah.
Like if you think about, I think this is in the first or the second season, when they're at a party and Charlotte's like, she stole my baby name. And Samantha goes, you bitch, we're leaving.
Doesn't even think twice about it.
Doesn't even think
away,
twice.
like,
And they have each other's backs. And I think of the scene where Carrie tells Samantha, they're in the kitchen. Carrie tells Samantha about cheating on Aiden with Big. And she didn't want to tell any of the other women. Like, she didn't want to tell Miranda because she knew that Miranda's going to go crazy. She didn't want to tell Charlotte because Charlotte's conservative. So she tells Samantha about it. And Samantha's response is very like...
It's very classic.
It's very classic Samantha. And she says, Carrie says to Samantha, don't you just want to judge me a little bit? And Samantha goes, not my style. Which I just love because it isn't her style to be judgmental.
That's right.
I think that Miranda is very judgmental as a character.
And Charlotte too.
And Charlotte too in many ways. But actually Samantha's very liberated like that. She's a very liberating kind of person and a friend to have around. When I think of the movie, this is my sister's favorite. I have 3 older sisters. I've already said that. 2 of them, their favorite moments is, one of their favorite moments is from the first Sex and the City movie when Big doesn't come to the wedding that Carrie is about to have.
Right.
And he changes his mind and he comes back and their limos cross paths.
Right.
And she gets out on the street and she goes, I knew it. And she starts whacking with the bouquet of flowers, and the petals are just falling in slow motion. And she's like, I knew he would do this. I am humiliated. And what happens is Big then goes after her and she goes straight into Charlotte's arms. And Charlotte goes, no.
Yeah. It's incredible.
And it makes you like teary because it's like Charlotte really had her back.
And especially it's surprising because it's Charlotte that's the one you'd expect it to be. And I actually think this is really interesting. When it came to confrontation, you'd think it'd be Samantha. It never was. It was always Charlotte. She attacks Big in when she's pregnant, you remember? Yep. And she's
I cursed the day you were born.
Yeah, I always was on your side. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's very interesting that Charlotte actually often comes through as the stronger character.
I do love the when I think back to the bouquet, I think about another scene involving flowers. Do you remember the one that I'm about to say?
I don't know.
I think this guy, his name's Berger. And this is towards season 6.
Oh my God, we all know Berger.
Basically, Berger comes back to Carrie's apartment and says, I'm in love with you. I know things haven't been good between us or whatever. I'm in love with you. And he he goes back to her place and sleeps with her for the night. Carrie wakes up in the morning and he's nowhere to be seen. And he sees a post-it that says, I'm sorry, don't hate me.
I'm sorry, I can't, don't hate me.
I'm sorry, I can't, don't hate me. And Carrie just looks away and then violently throws the vase of flowers
across the floor.
And
it's just stillness.
And the water
just quiet
is
stillness.
Dripping down the table. And it's stillness. And I don't know what it is about that scene that always gave me goosebumps.
Because so much of Sex and the City was tongue-in-cheek and comedy that when you have those moments of just utter devastation, that it really hits extremely hard.
I think of another scene.
I'm thinking of one too.
Oh my God. And it's probably my favorite moment
I think
of
you're gonna
the show.
I think you're going to say the same one as me.
It's at Miranda's mother's funeral.
That's the one.
It's at Miranda's mother's funeral. And what I love about Samantha's character is, yes, she's hilarious. She's comic relief. She's this fabulous, confident woman, but you very rarely see her get emotional.
You don't. It's not how she wants to portray herself.
She doesn't want to portray it.
world.
And so when this devastating thing happens to Miranda, she has no idea how to react and is really awkward and buys a big bouquet of flowers that says, what does Charlotte say? We wanted this. We wanted
something tasteful, not your dead, let's disco.
I love it. And she has no idea how to react. And she's like, oh. But she's sitting there in the funeral, in the service, and Miranda looks back because obviously she's at the front because she's with her family. And so she's separated from her friends. And she looks back at the girls. And Samantha just you don't even hear it. You just see her lips move and say, and Miranda goes,
and it's like,
and
tears immediately.
And then Samantha just breaks down, and it's so beautiful. And another scene that I remember is, do you remember the scene with Richard And
That's my favorite one. Well,
Okay,
hang on.
well,
No,
you
no,
say it,
wait.
'cause
No,
I've
no,
said
no,
it.
no. You say because I've got my one of my iconic scenes is Samantha and Richard, but I think you might be saying a different one.
No,
so.
I'm saying it's the second time that Samantha cried.
So when he tells her like you slept with my architect,
Yeah, you slept with my architect, you don't get the job. And she goes, if I was a man, you would have like patted me on the back and you would have given me keys to to an office.
And she's not wrong.
And she goes, you know, like she says something else and she leaves and Carrie's narrating it and she's going, she wanted to get into that elevator so quickly because the tears had already started to form.
And she couldn't.
And she was like, come on, come on, come on. And he's chasing after her going, wait, Miss Jones, wait, Miss Jones. And she gets into the elevator and just
then
bursts
down.
into tears. And then at that moment, Carrie goes, it was then and there that Samantha got the job. Richard called Samantha going, you have the biggest balls I've ever seen or something like that, which is just like, again, it's that the moment of the elevator closing, like she doesn't want anyone to see her true emotions.
Yeah, it's interesting that we've picked, and one of mine is Samantha, and I'll tell you in a second. 3 of our favorite iconic scenes involve Samantha in moments of vulnerability. So I'll give you mine. So the funeral one is, oh my God, I find that whole episode to be devastating, beautiful,
but so real,
and I cry every time I see it.
Me too.
My scene that is in my lives rent free forever. Richard and Samantha on the rooftop when he invites her. It's in The Good Fight, my favorite episode. And he invites her. It's an intimate date. And she's like, I don't want any part of this. Show me your big, gorgeous dick, you know, like with this, the whole thing. He's like, no. And they dance to Sade. And it is the most, I think a lot of people would say this is iconic because she's like, she gives in. She gives into the idea of being in love with Richard, which she has not allowed herself to do. And I think that it's interesting that we've just picked our iconic moments and they're all Samantha being
vulnerable,
letting herself go, which is interesting.
And letting herself feel these really strong feelings.
Yeah. I'll give you another one. Okay. This is not Samantha. This is more of a comedy moment, but it is my absolute favorite. It's Miranda. So Miranda has decided to be on a sex ban. So she's decided no more sex. And so she starts eating cakes. And she keeps going to this patisserie and ordering these giant eclairs. And she's stuffing her face with cakes. And then she moves on to like giant cakes. And then she finds out that the giant cake she wants is like $60. And she's like, okay, I can't pay this for a cake. So she goes and gets a box of Betty Crocker chocolate brownie mix and she makes her own sheet cake. And then, so it shows you in between Carrie having amazing sex with that guy, Ray, you see some Miranda keep going into the kitchen and taking another slice and cutting another slice. By the end, she gets so frustrated with herself that she throws it in the bin. Then we see her creep back, take a piece out of the bin and eat it. And then she phones Carrie on the phone, which is like a wall phone, which I love. You know, it's such the
90s.
era.
Yeah.
She's on the wall phone and she's like, I just want to let you know that your good friend Miranda Hobbs has taken a piece of cake out of the trash and eaten it. You're probably going to need to know this information when you check me in to the Betty Crocker clinic. And it's one of those moments that I howl at every time because A, you kind of can relate to it, and B, it's just an example of Miranda, who was always so sort of sardonic and sarcastic and so on, turning it on herself, you know, turning that sort of judgment onto her and kind of being like, yeah, I know that this is just, I need to stop. And kind of calling Carrie to almost validate. I know that I need to stop.
They've got such a special relationship, those two. And it makes me think of another cute moment between the two of them, between Carrie and Miranda, is I think also in Sex and the City 1 or Sex and the City 2, the movie, is it's New Year's and Miranda's going, I'm eating Chinese food on New Year's by myself. And she's woken her up and she goes, no, I'll come and meet you. And she's like, on New Year's? No, don't. It's fine. You don't have to. I'm all the way across town. And then Carrie goes, okay, good night, puts down the phone and then gets up and goes. And then this beautiful rendition of Auld Lang Syne is playing. Should all
it's incredible.
Be forgot? It's so beautiful. And she's making her way across town in the snow and she just gets there just in time. And it's like 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year is playing on the TV, and she's the first thing that she does is hug Miranda, and she goes, "You're not alone," which I think is just so sweet.
Yeah,
it's such a sweet moment.
Their friendship was definitely brought into question in that movie because obviously Miranda tells Carrie that she's responsible for big kind of like fucking up at the wedding. And so they have this back and forwards in that.
With a whole bunch of balloons. Is that that scene?
They're in, it's Valentine's Day. It's Valentine's Day. And they are having a date together. And she tells her, and then, they're in this restaurant and everyone thinks they're a couple. And so then they have this huge argument. And, again, it's a really real moment. I mean, obviously not many of us have kind of fucked up somebody's wedding, and at the same time, I would argue that she didn't really do that. She said one throwaway comment to Big that, it's kind of on him that he, was typical Big and sort of took that too far. But I think that the friendship elements are really kind of important in terms of our experience of watching the show, because it's how we identify with it through our own lives. Also from my favourite episode, The Good Fight, the scene where Carrie and Aidan get into the big fight about the doggy in the shoe. It is. I've recreated this scene. I think a lot of people are very pro Big and anti Aidan. Actually, how do you feel about that? Pro Big or anti Aidan, or which one did you love? Who did you think she should have been with? People will argue all day long about this.
Genuinely, I think that I really, really don't like how she hurt Aidan.
But do you not think that they had the most incredible chemistry in their scenes together?
And he's the great thing about Aidan's character, and played by that actor, is that
John Corbett,
such a different vibe to what Mr. Big is.
I mean,
he's like a surfer dude.
Night and day different.
He's so casual.
The turquoise rings.
He's messy. He's not polished like Big is.
But he's a man.
He's
definitely a man's man.
Yeah.
He's not metrosexual in any way.
No. He's a man. He's a dude. And I think that Carrie and Big will always be like, they're just such a timeless couple. I mean, I think those characters are just like ridiculous.
Extreme.
They're so flawed, and like they've made so many mistakes, and the countless cheating that both of them do.
Absolutely.
I'm just like, oh, Carrie.
I think that I was always, when I first watched it, I was very pro Aidan and very much thought she should be with him, because I actually truly think the chemistry in the scenes together was much stronger with Aidan. The fight, that one of my favorite scenes ever is where they have that fight. It's perfect. And there's another one where it's the one where Miranda's pregnant and she doesn't want to tell. She tells Carrie not to tell Aidan or anyone.
Yeah,
but of course she does.
Yeah.
And then she comes back to the apartment and Steve's there, and she's like visibly shaken at this idea that Steve's there and she's hiding this secret from him. And so she takes Aidan into the bathroom and she's like, "Did you tell him?" And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "About Miranda and the baby." Like it's all done, like whispered. And it's just a moment where I'm like, the acting chemistry between those two people. And he's like, "What's bugging you?" And it's, I think them two bounced off each other amazingly.
Yeah.
And that's why The Good Fight, when they have the fight about the shoe, and your shoe-eating dog, and and you can knock yourself out putting on the Rogaine and the speed stick. And he's just like, and he looks in the mirror at his hair to see if he's actually receding. I think that those fight scenes are just phenomenal. I mean, I think most people would say that The Good Fight is one of their favorite episodes for that reason. Do you have any other iconic scenes?
Yes, there's one fight that I remember that isn't a crazy fight, but it's a fight about money. It's in the episode where
Charlotte and Carrie?
Charlotte won't let, like, she doesn't offer the money.
Yeah.
And Carrie's really pissed off by that.
Oh, she's really pissed off by that.
But I'm like, I'm on kind of Charlotte's side because it's...
Oh, I think most people are.
It's like, why are you getting pissed off at her for
not offering to give you $35,000?
All of this money?
Right.
It's just really shitty of her as a friend to be like, why wouldn't you offer the money? And she's like, "It's not up to me to fix your financial problems."
Yeah.
And it's so true. And I just think that was, there have been a lot of fights with, I don't know if it was the same fight. I think it's a different fight. But I think it's almost like in the same place. But it's like where Carrie confesses that she is still sleeping with Big, or still seeing Big whilst he's married.
Yep.
And she goes, "You're the other woman. How would you think if this was...
How would you feel if that was me?"
If that was me. And she goes, "I would be devastated."
She's getting married to Trey at that point. It's literally she's packing up the apartment to move in with Trey. They're getting married the next week. And she's just appalled by this idea that she's sleeping with a married man. And, because she's getting married. And she's saying, well, okay, maybe you're not thinking of it Because I think Carrie's thought was, well, I was there first. He's mine. So if I want to pick him back up again, it's okay.
Yeah.
Whereas Charlotte's like, well, not really, because he married somebody else.
Yeah, he married someone else. Exactly.
You know, he married somebody else. And so, you know, I'm now getting married.
Yeah.
So, and that's fair. It's a fair judgment.
I like how Charlotte and Miranda and Samantha are on cycle as just like the voice of reason that Carrie really needs, because Carrie is so clouded by like love. She's got rose-tinted glasses on. She really makes so many poor choices.
But she's very self-involved as well.
She is, yeah.
She very much sees the world from this.
Mm-hmm.
She's very rarely can sometimes she can, but very rarely can she see out of this.
Yeah.
And that's where the criticism of Carrie come from. On that note, who are you? Who are you? Are you a Charlotte? Are you a Carrie? Are you a Samantha?
I think we're never just one person.
No,
I think
I
that
don't
we're
think
a
so
combination
either.
of two or three. I think there is an element of Samantha in a lot of gay men.
Right.
I really do think that.
Yeah.
Just the confidence and just that's what I love. That's why I love doing these Sex and the City scenes.
Yeah, you
online.
like Samantha. Samantha's your jam. Like.
Well, I just like how she holds herself, and
Yeah.
she's very poised, and
Right.
it's just it's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Kim Cattrall delivers these lines, in a way, it's very caricature, but it's not at the same time.
It's
because
controlled and delivered.
It's controlled.
Yeah.
Because you imagine that somebody that, like, if you can imagine Samantha as a character on paper, it's very easy to just over-sexualize her and have her speak like this.
That was definitely the
and
danger.
raspy and like,
Yeah.
you know, like this kind of like this woman lioness sort of sultry figure type. But like Samantha is class and elegance.
She actually is. She carries herself.
And we were talking about this, I remember once, about how Kim Cattrall is actually English on
Yes.
her mum's side.
She was born in Liverpool.
She's born in Liverpool.
Yeah.
And there is this almost British, I guess, posture about.
And her accent is definitely more of a.
It's very classy.
It's very classy.
Even though it's American, it's not a British accent.
But it has a British slant to it.
Yes.
It's why you and I both can do a really good Samantha, I
Yes.
think, because you're not, what do we call, I'm European, I guess. What do you call yourself?
Oh, I'm from New Zealand, but I don't know where I'm from because I grew up in Hong Kong.
We're not American.
No.
So we're not American.
Definitely not American.
So we
I
are
have a weird American twang sometimes.
We're both able to do a really good Samantha, and I think it's because of that
Mm-hmm.
British, because you grew up in Hong Kong.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I mean, like Britishisms kind of share a lot of the same kind of culture and
we do.
words and like our dialect is I wouldn't say it's similar, but it's definitely not American. It's
Right.
closer to British and Australian,
Yeah.
New Zealand, you know, like than it would be to America.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's, you're absolutely right. That's how I feel like we can do Samantha Sewell's, because there is a Britishness to Samantha.
A clippedness and a sort of like a very clipped delivery of these moments. But
Yeah.
so you are so you're part
I
Samantha
would say
and then
I'm part Samantha and probably a Miranda, I would say.
I think all good people have a bit of Miranda in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she speaks her mind, and I like how
Right.
she is very driven by her career.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm quite driven in my career.
Yep.
And yes, I would say Miranda and Samantha. What about you?
Well, I'm obviously a bit of a Carrie because of the clothes and the shoes and the bags and that kind
and you
of,
are a fashionista.
and I'm also a writer.
Yeah.
So yes, influence, because she just was so cool, and she is really cool.
Yeah.
What we have to think about is the way she swaggers, the way she struts. It's like
the way she runs her hands through her thick mane and just like.
And she has this.
looks to the
Sarah
back.
Jessica has this. She has these kind of weird joints in her fingers where her fingers bend. Right.
She does this when
Yes.
she's always
So-
putting her hands on her chest.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's something very specific and very deliberate about her movements that is so just, I love it. And
Mm-hmm.
she has this thing that actually does bug me. I talk about this a lot on my socials. She has this really over-exaggerated way of kissing and eating. Right, think about her eating a piece of cake in the show. It's like this.
She's always talking with her mouth full.
Yeah. It's like this really over-exaggerated. And then when she's kissing somebody, it's it's like devouring them.
Yeah.
And my followers talk about this all the time and they're like, God, I hate the way she kisses. But it's all very Carrie. It's all this very, very deliberate, over dramatized kind of way.
Yeah.
And I do think that I definitely have a lot of her in me. And I think when I was younger, I definitely was probably a little bit like her in terms of relationships and stuff. I don't think so now.
No.
I think I'm definitely more of a Miranda. But then that being said, and let's just to kind of like, we're going to wrap up, but I want to talk a little bit about And Just Like That, because this is where my next point was coming.
Ooh.
It just got interesting.
It just got interesting. That's from a different show, though.
Oh, that's from our other favourite show.
That's from Friends.
Friends. Don't even start us on Friends.
No,
we'll be here
talk
all
about,
day.
We'll talk about
another
that
day.
another day.
Yes, And Just Like That. I really, really, really have to say I hated what happened with Miranda in And Just Like That, because I think she was such a specific character in Sex and the City, and she was this feminist, and she was just very much like, and I think that when I think of her now, it's slightly diluted by what we saw in And Just Like That.
It doesn't make sense to me personally.
So
her
what
storyline.
did you think about the sequel? Just to touch on that slightly.
I might disappoint a lot of people by saying this, but I don't think it should have happened.
I don't think you are in the minority in that opinion.
I think that I loved the show and the subsequent films so much because it was about these 4 very distinct women.
Yes.
And it was a story about 4 of them, not 3 of them.
I know. Well,
4
that
of
was
them.
that was
So it feels like
sticker.
something's missing. Like it's like the Spice Girls. It wasn't the same when Jerry left.
No, it wasn't.
So, it's like a part of a really crucial, integral part of the show was missing.
Yeah.
Think about what Samantha was in the show. She was the Sex in the City. She was half of the show.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, she had, it's not
I
an
agree.
opinion, it's a fact. She was in the most sex scenes in that
absolutely.
show.
She put the sex
And
into
she
the city.
represented, she put the Sex in the City.
Yeah.
So when Kim Cattrall isn't involved, but then they decide to go ahead with the 3 other women anyway, it feels like a disservice to the actual story.
And I think it was problematic the way they decided to talk about why she wasn't in it. That was problematic because let's face it, if your whole show has been built on friendship and it's built on and that is the fundamental underlying thing that ties Sex and the City together so
100%.
beautifully is it's about female friendship. And not just female friendship, because we have Stanford and we, Anthony, we have these other friendships, but it's about friendship.
Yeah.
So how can you then say that they've fallen out over a trifling little issue, that she didn't hire her to be the publicist over for something? First of all, I don't think Samantha would have given a fuck, to be honest. She might have been like, what are you doing? But I actually genuinely don't think it would have caused a big fight.
It wouldn't have caused a fight where they no longer spoke to each other again.
Absolutely. And so that, I think, was the sticker, was like, it would have been better to say she died. And I said that's horrible, but I think it would have been better to say there was something much more that was not to do with them falling out. And if they did fall out, it had to be over something much bigger than that. Because these people, and especially Samantha and Carrie, extremely close, extremely always on a level, and never really had an argument. Did they have an argument ever?
Who?
Samantha and Carrie.
Yes, they did.
Which one?
They had an argument in the show. It was when Samantha gets on her knees and is in her office, and Carrie comes in and she has really short curly hair.
Oh God, I love
and,
this.
She goes, "Oh my God," and she walks in
She
on
judges
Samantha
her.
giving her head.
Yes.
And it's I love this moment, and it's when they finally confront each other about that. She goes, "But if you ever came in on and I don't know what the line is preceding that, but Carrie goes, "But that is not something I would ever do."
And she goes, "There it is."
And she goes, "There it is."
Yeah.
I can't believe that you would do that after all we've been through. Samantha, where are you going? I'm going to splash some water on my face and I'm going home. And I will not be judged by you or society. I will
blow anyone
whomever,
I want.
as long as I can breathe and kneel.
And I love that because she takes the moment, she completely turns it around and empowers herself. And in the end, Carrie, and the thing is, and we'll talk about this a lot more, in future episodes, but Carrie was actually quite judgmental.
It's I will wear whatever and blow whomever. I
Right.
will wear whatever and blow whomever I want as long as I can breathe and kneel. Sorry, just want to put it out there.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right, edit. So I feel like it's about the fact that, Carrie was a sex columnist, and actually was the most judgmental of all, really, and the most buttoned up and the most covered up, which is a whole topic for another day. But it's definitely something that troubles people, because you're like, how did you write a sex column and you were so judgmental about seeing your friend give the UPS guy a blowjob?
I know.
I mean, everyone would be like, what the fuck? But I don't think it would be more than like, it's funny, ha ha.
And you know, we all know about the feud between Kim Cattrall and Sarah Jessica Parker. And it's not me saying, oh, well, Samantha should just, Kim Cattrall should just get over it and do the show. No, I'm not saying that, because clearly that was never going to happen. It was never going to happen. She was very, very explicit about not wanting to do the show again.
And I think
and you've got to
she cited her reasons for that. And
she also drew her boundaries. Like, those are boundaries. And I respect her for that.
And I actually think that, just to finish, she didn't actually say that she didn't want to do it because of anything to do with the feud. She said, I don't want to be a 60-year-old woman doing those sorts of sex scenes.
Exactly.
It doesn't work.
And it doesn't make sense to the character, because what would the character be doing? And this is not to say that old people can't have sex.
No, not at all.
Not at all. But it's just like, I just don't think Samantha would be living her best life, going on vacations in Hawaii with a cocktail in her hand, enjoying retirement. That's what she would be doing. Yeah. And it doesn't make sense to the trajectory of the show. Yeah. To like actually see that, because like we already know, Kim Cattrall and Samantha essentially is 10 years older than the rest of the girls. Yeah. Yeah. And I just don't know if it would really, if it would have worked anyway, if she would have been a part of the show.
And I think she was quite smart to do that, because people want to go out on a high if they've got any common sense. And she did, in the end, she turned out to be right. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's that idea of going out on a high and Samantha being Samantha. And she knew that it just wouldn't have been quite the same, and people would have been disappointed. Mm-hmm. And so as disappointed as we were that she wasn't in it, she knew that we would probably be disappointed if she was in it and she wasn't the Samantha, which she wouldn't be all these years later. No. So we'll talk about that another day, because there's a lot to talk about with Just Like That, and all of the characters. But my God, I think we've hashed through quite a lot today.
We have. I want to just run through my phone to see if I've forgotten anything, and I don't think I have.
I think we pretty much rinsed.
I think we've got everything.
We went down into a rabbit hole of so many things. Yeah. But we will, of course, be doing a lot more Sex and the City content, and probably some Friends content too. You know, it's a lot about Sex and the City, but it's a lot about so much from that era, which is just like I could talk about all day long, and we will be going forward. So I think that's a wrap on episode 1 of the Icons Edit. Thank you to my fabulous guest. And my very good friend, who we could just natter over a glass of wine all day to. Join me for episode 2. Well, we'll be talking about the most iconic handbag of all time, the Fendi baguette.
The baguette.
Seriously, I have an expert on archival vintage bags, and she's going to be talking about the Fendi baguette, and I'm going to be bringing some of my baguettes as well, just to show, because we love the baguette. So that's it.
And Carrie wore a lot of baguettes, didn't she?
Oh my God, she did.
She had a lot of.
So that's coming up on next week's episode. So join us for that. And until then, that's it for the Icons Edit for today.
Woo!
Julian,
thank you so much.
Thank you.
The city